I need a real turntable. Barber College Success brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cutz Academy, JC, Crown Cutz Academy, Bristol, and Craig's Crown Cutz, downtown Johnson City. Spreading love is the Tri-City way. You know what? What is it? The Appalachian, whatever they're going to call it now, way. But you know what? The only way is the Crown Cutz way. That's how we doing it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we got a special guest on today, but before I do, I'm going to introduce my co-host.
Ammi Fields, Ammi, your barber on Instagram. I'm going to start wearing a tie. There's 2 days, two times in a row come in, you got a tie on. I'm in here dressed in some plaid.
Hey, it's your style. I just had a couple functions today.
I'm just saying, I feel like I can get some work in. I can get a tie on.
And our co-host, Mr. Jordan Barber, he said he's stuck in traffic, so he's going to jump in any minute right now. But now I'm going to introduce my guest, Brother Wanza. Talk about yourself. Introduce yourself, Brother Wanza. Tell me where you're from, who you with.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And my name is Wanza Poole. I'm from Philadelphia. I've been a barber since high school. So I go back into the 80s. I started in like 89, graduated in 90, been a licensed barber since 91, got into education in 99, started teaching on the road in 2008, and been out here ever since. On my own barbershop. I've had my own shop since 2004, and it's just been a great journey, man. Barbering has not only afforded me a great income, but it's taken me on some world travels, as you called me. I was in Brazil, it's just been I speak 2 languages. I speak Portuguese fluently, and man, my life is just a dream. So I'm good, man. Barbering has delivered me.
He's a vet.
Real good.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I like that shirt. Remember, I got my iconic shirt. He only had like a large or something. I still got it.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah, we got to get you the double X. We got to get you the double X.
I know. I see it. I'm getting that. I'm snatching that up. It was dope.
I told Craig make some double X's. He made all extra larges and larges. Like, yeah,
you take it to like the seamstress and get it stretched out.
These ain't no shoes. You can just stretch them out now.
Yeah, but you can though. Like they can put some seams in it and make it work.
Put some extra cloth.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy right here. But I'm going to talk about a little bit about how we met. So it's kind of funny how we met, because we met when we first met each other through our homies, mutual friend, Thomas.
Yes.
It was like at this function, like next to the Empire State Building on like the 75 floors, 5th floor or something.
Yeah.
That was crazy, because we're sitting there in Manhattan, and like you say, people don't think barbering will take you to these places.
Exactly.
But we had a function for barbering, and you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was about the IBS did an urban pavilion, but it's not an urban pavilion. They did a powerhouse pavilion, and it was based around a lot of the people of color in the industry, African Americans specifically, that contributed to the advancement of our industry that doesn't get talked about. Everybody knows about Madam C.J. Walker, but they don't know about, Lusters and some other people who have, definitely changed the industry. The one lady that created the first weave, the first sew-in and all that. So it's a lot. And they basically had a party the night before to kind of bring everybody that was a part of the committee. Thomas was there. He was on the committee. I was on the committee, a few others. And to, just celebrate us, African Americans that had been a part of the industry teaching wise on an educational level that normally don't get recognized. So it was really great to bring us all together and for us to meet, because we were doing panels together, and a lot of the panels that we didn't really get a chance to really discuss stuff. So meeting people, getting to know their personalities made everything go off much smoother. And it was great. And they even sent me a gift basket at the end, and shows don't really do that at all. They don't really do much, and that field is changing. We can talk about that, but that was really great, man. And it was great seeing you there. Great for us to have time to sit and talk outside the show, because when the show is going on, you really can't talk the way you want to.
Right.
If you're trying to soak in so much, you're trying to find stuff that you're trying to find. So having that opportunity to sit and us talk, and have some libation and a little bit of food, that was great.
That's amazing. And that's what this podcast is about. It's called Barber College Success. But what we want to do, we want to inspire the barber that's coming up, for them to do it the right way, understand that it's so much more than just standing or sitting behind a chair, because sometimes it can get monotonous and get burnt out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was important to just kind of sit and vibe. And we're doing a series now called Student Stories and Barber Stories. I
Okay.
think it's important for people to hear where barbers started,
Yeah.
where they came from,
Yeah.
and understand that all of us typically have the same journey. We go through the same thing.
Pretty much.
We struggle with the same thing when we were in school.
Yes, we did.
And a lot of times, most barbers, they don't realize it's a journey, it's a process,
Yes.
because a lot of the new barbers right now, they want to get it right in school and be the maximize and be the best barber in school. And it's,
Mhm.
you can't shortcut that journey. You have to have those experiences to go to the barber show, to
Mhm.
network and meet different people,
Yes.
and be able to go to Brazil and talk about how you speak in a different language. Those things are important.
Yes. 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 You know, I think even even my generation wanted everything like yesterday, right? And life teaches you to be patient, because the one thing life, you say you want this, life will keep asking you, how much do you want it? How much do you want it? And you have to be able to fight through those tough times, because doors are going to close on you, but you got to keep your resolve, no matter what field you're going into, and especially this field. So, you just have to keep your resolve. I was watching Marlon Wayne's comedy special last night, and he talked about how Chris Rock kind of embarrassed him when he was doing stand up, and it made him quit stand up for 20 years.
Mm.
But he owned that wasn't a good move on his behalf. He kind of um he just was scared, and
Mm-hmm.
he allowed someone else to run him off of what he's supposed to do, instead of just get better. When he called his brother, like, yo, Chris did this to me, he said, his brother's like, man, because you probably wasn't good, you probably wasn't funny. And so
Right.
instead of going back to the drawing board, he quit and just went to do something different. Now, of
Right.
course, he's still successful, and he's now come back to do stand-up. But in this industry, you don't get to stop doing something when you're 20 and then come back when you're in your 40s
Oh, no.
and really gain that same momentum, that same success, unless maybe you stop doing hair and then you're teaching, or maybe you open up a salon and you're managing it,
Right.
or something like that. But you normally don't get years off of doing hair and then getting back in and getting back hot. Like, that doesn't happen. So, what this has taught me uh, is resolve. And I think one of the things I can impart on students right now, because they have cell phones so much. When you start your career off, no matter how good you are or how good you think you are, it's still a it's still a people game. You have to form relationships with people.
You got to build.
You got to build relationships, right? That's called building your book up. And so one of the things about building relationships, it takes time. And so why right now I see a lot of younger people just on their phone in their dead time. When I had dead time, I had to hand out cards to try to solicit people to come to me. And if I didn't do that, I was sitting there watching other barbers much better than me cut hair, asking them questions. Why are you doing that? What's this about? A lot of times now, they think they can just go to YouTube University and get it.
Mm.
Sometimes you just got to sit there and look at the person that's right there next to you that's doing the damn thing, and just observe what they're doing. Not just observe their skills, but observe how they're handling their clients. Like,
Yes.
we shortcut a lot out, because we teach them how to be great cutters, but horrible people. Like, they don't know how to be. They don't know how
Build
to be.
relationships.
They don't. Yeah, and like, you might be the type of person. I work with a dude, for example, and I hate to keep talking, but I work
That's
with a
what you're here for.
yeah. Thank
Barber
you, brother.
stories.
Thank you, brother. Right. I work with this dude named Will. His personality was hot and cold. Some mornings he come in, don't speak to nobody. Some mornings he come in, he cool, right?
You can't do that,
And
Will.
he wasn't a people person, right? He really wasn't. So somebody at work was kind of offended, like, man, boy, be at them. I was like, you just gotta understand that's how he is. Some mornings he come in, he a little bipolar. Some mornings he come in, he don't really say nothing, don't take it personal. It ain't personal against it's not personal to you. After you hear about a good hour, he'll warm up. But not
Right.
everybody come in hot. Some people come in cold. And when you want to run an establishment or be in a bigger environment, you have to learn how to manage personalities. Even if you're not the manager, you have to learn how to manage people around you, and know when to jump into some stuff, when not to jump into stuff. So it's a wicked game. It's not that hard, but you have to be open to interacting with people. And if you try to close yourself off, yeah, you're
You
not
got
going to be that
lose.
successful in this industry.
I know
That's
you.
important.
I know you talked about it a little bit. You
Mm.
said when you started, there was no dead time for you.
Nah.
There was, if you wasn't handing out cards, trying to solicit it or just build clientele, you was learning, watching from other barbers.
Yes.
Where did you go to school? Do you remember have any memories besides that of school and when you were in school and what it was like?
So I did not go to school. I went to a private teacher, and
Okay,
so I learned just
apprenticeship.
working. Yeah, I learned every day working with a private teacher, doing book work, and working on the floor. So my process was a little different, and I teach that way to this day. I take on a couple of students at a time, but it's more hands on. It's more
Mhm.
right there in your face. You know, you have to do your book work, and so that was my process. I didn't go to a school. I didn't
But you
have
know what?
to. I
But
didn't
you
have
know
to
what's
do
you,
that
you know
process.
what's funny, Wands?
Mhm.
Um, me, you, and Emma, we kind of followed the same path.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
I feel like school is a nuanced thing. I feel like most barbers and cosmetologists did the apprenticeship style
Yeah.
before schools were readily available as they are
right.
now.
Right. Now
So
up here, schools been popular, but now up here, schools are kind of fading away because they took the accreditation from us.
and that's in
So,
Philly.
so from the '80s and the '90s, a lot of barbers didn't pay their tabs. So the state was like, "Well, that's not really a good product to invest in." So they pulled it. So now you have to go to like an Empire Beauty School.
Right.
There are some schools now that do barber schools that do take on students, but you have to work out a payment plan. So you can no
Right.
longer apply to the state for a loan. You have to make out a payment plan with the
And
school.
and,
So
and
that's
probably my thought process when I'm thinking there are a lot of barbers who were just getting the skill and not going to take the test. So
oh my God.
the state was like, yeah, we got to help combat this. If y'all gonna trip like that, this is what we're gonna do.
Yo, let me tell you something, bro. I did not understand how you spend so much time working on taking, working yourself up through school, learning how to cut, and get all the way to the point of the test and quit. Like I
Yeah,
just don't. You have to finish the process,
yeah, that
and that's another part of this. If you don't learn how to finish things, you always start something, and then when it get a little tough, you quit. You can't get nowhere in life with that. You have to push through. I know some people aren't good. I had a dude that only made it to eighth grade
mhm.
and he nailed the test the first couple times he took it. Then I
Right,
got people that graduated, high school who took it four times, failed, and quit.
right.
So it's really about your application. It's really not that hard. A lot of what we learn is written on an eighth grade level.
It is. It is.
So you just do people guys got to apply males and females, whoever is going to be in barbering, because a lot of women are in barbering now. Let me not exclude them. You gotta apply yourself. I know the book work seems boring. I was more fascinated when I had the book in my hand. I was like, wow, I didn't know I was gonna learn about physiology and different
Chemistry.
diseases. I was like, I didn't know barbering was this,
Yes.
entailed. So I was more
Technology.
intrigued by the information than I was put off by it. But I can see how people. There was a guy online that was like, look, I can cut hair just as good as anyone else, as all these licensed barbers. So like, why do I have to have a license? I cut just as good as them. And I responded to them. I said, look, my daughter's teacher has a license. My doctor has a license. My dentist has a license. Everybody, my lawyer, my accountant, all a license. You wouldn't allow an unlicensed doctor to perform a surgery on you. So you have to look at barbering the same way you're looking at all these other professions. The
Put
way
it
you
put it
carry
put
that
it
attitude
put it
is,
in the high esteem.
man, you got to have a high esteem about what we do. Like you could probably make more money than most people who have a 4-year college degree if you do it right.
By
So,
far.
And
even
like
if you
Craig
got
says, those
right?
people, excuse me, sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
Like Craig says, those people limit themselves.
Right.
They, okay, you cut hair really well. And then you realize, man, I'm getting tired of cutting hair. I would
Right.
like to do something else. But you can't do anything else because you've set a ceiling on you.
Exactly. And not only did you set a ceiling on yourself, if you never have a sense of accomplishment, like you started cutting hair, then you went to school, then you got your license. If you don't have a sense of accomplishment while you're cutting hair with no license, you don't really have a drive to do
I don't have
anything
that
else.
hunger.
Because whatever else you're going to do, if you want to get into real estate, you're going to have to go through some legal process. If you want to get
Right.
into this, legal process. So, but people look at it like a hustle, like they on the corner. This ain't the corner. This is
No.
a
But
legit business. But if you don't have a mindset of accomplishment, you'll never get past being a basement barber is what I consider.
I call them renegades.
Yeah, renegades. Yeah, that's what they are.
But the importance of that and you equating yourself and talking about, I just came back from Brazil. I mean, that should just show the prestige of what our industry is.
Yeah,
Or I just came back from Manhattan,
right.
doing a class in Manhattan on the panel.
Right.
That shows the esteem of what our industry is.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we try to shortcut it.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of people in this industry, they're not making the money that they should.
Right.
Because I think a lot of barbers don't make the money that they should.
Right. Well, you're only worth what people are willing to pay you. You know
what I mean?
I see all these guys going up in their prices, but they're not up in their tools. They're not up in their quality of service. They just think they should get paid more for the same thing they've been giving you. So
up in their personality.
Right. So they're like,
they want customer service.
Like Big Mac, $2, but they want to go up to $10 just because it's a Big Mac. But you didn't do anything more to it. You didn't put no special sauce on it, no pickles. You gave me nothing extra. Like for me, as I grew in my clientele and I started going up in prices, I started going to hair shows, getting better products, getting better, bringing stuff back that's increasing my value to what I'm giving my clients. But people don't look at it like that. People look at it like, what you giving me, period. And they cut you with combs with no teeth in it, clippers with jacked up blades. I mean, they don't care. Like, I'm totally professional. I love all my stuff being pristine. I'm not going to put a raggedy comb on somebody's head. I'm not going to have a raggedy brush. All my stuff is clean. Like, I'm a professional. And that's what you learn going to school, is how to be a professional. It's not just about how to cut hair. It's how to be a professional.
And that's what it should be about. And let me give a shout out to our co-host. He just came in. He was in some traffic. Jordan, you all right, man?
Behind.
Okay, that's all good. I mean, but we used to that.
My fault, our listeners, it's been like two, three times. So Jordan, you got to explain to the listeners.
It ain't my fault this time. I'm sorry.
Whose song is that? It ain't my fault. Did I do that? Is that one of them dudes, right? Silk the Shock or somebody?
I don't even know who that is.
This dude, right? You see them saying them dude? He just came out the womb, man.
Well, nice to meet you, man. I'm Jordan, bro. Nice to meet you,
bro. Nice to meet you, bro. You a barber too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's the co-host for our show, and we had to start the show without him.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. What was the most difficult part of your journey, Wanza?
Man, the most difficult part of the journey is ignoring the naysayers. Is I have family. So when I was graduating high school in 90, I'm an old head. Desert Storm was happening at that time. Mm-hmm. And part of my family's like, yo, you need to go to college to avoid the draft. They're talking about drafting. And I had interest in college, but I was like, all right, I'll do college. I applied for college a little late. Didn't get the financial aid that I thought I was going to get. So I ended up the first year with like $7,000 in debt. So now I'm telling my family, look, I'm $7,000 in debt to go to school next year. I'm not gonna get what I thought I was gonna get. So it's gonna probably be another $7,000. So unless y'all have $15,000 to give me, I'm gonna have to do something different. But they were just so hell bent on go to school. And I was like, well, what else you want to do? I'm gonna cut hair. I started cutting hair in high school. I like it. I'm not making no money, but I like it. I'm interested. And they were like, nah, you can't make no money cutting hair. It ain't a career, this, that, and other. Like, all right. But my mom, I sat down with my mom one night at the dinner table. I remember vividly, you know what I mean? And I was so frustrated with everybody. And I was like, look, if people don't have $15,000 to give me, I ain't doing it. Like now, you know what I'm hot, right?
Yeah.
So my mom looked at me, she's like, look, whatever you want to do, as long as it's positive, I'll support it.
And that's what counts.
From that point on, it's just, I didn't care about what no one else said. And I'm here today, with the success that I had, that I owe to her being a one person out of my whole family said, I got you. Right. Now my grandfathers the men in the family don't really care, because the men in my family, some of them are military and they all men, right? And they men, old school men. So they don't say much. They just like, you gonna figure it out. Men got to make a way where there is none. So They were cool. They didn't say too much. But, the women in my family who are in education, by the way, so this is why they pushed me to education. My aunt, my grandmother, my great aunt, they're all educators. So they all education, school. So I say all that to say that now I get into the barbering, and then what do I end up getting into? Education anyway. Because it's in my blood.
One way or another.
So now when I start having success, they're like, "Oh, we knew you was gonna make it." Yeah, all right, whatever.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym?
For sure.
Nobody passed me no balls in the gym, right? But everybody knew I was gonna make it. But in the end, getting into teaching and things like that, when I'm able to bring that back to them, I'm not even mad at them because I'm like, I'm still carrying the tradition of our family, which is getting an education.
Most time, our family members, our friends, they want what's best for us.
Yes.
But we don't take the time to have a conversation with us.
Yes.
Or the individual to see what's best for them. What's making them happy?
Absolutely.
What is their why?
Right.
Because knowing you, the little bit I know about you, you're a happy dude like myself.
Absolutely.
I never had a bad day working in the shop.
Nah,
you probably never had a bad day.
Right.
So the key for us is, and how we push this formula on this podcast is let people know, find your why.
Find your why.
Find your why, understand what your why is, and have a conversation with kids.
Right.
Because you can't tell a kid, go to school. What am I going to school for?
Right.
And is it going to make me happy?
Right.
And of course, we're not going to start breaking the bank when we start a profession.
Right.
But with a little bit of loss, a little bit of
right.
we'll get there.
Right.
Because it will show in our work.
Right. Right. So I think, for us as African Americans, what happened was coming through all that we've gone through, my parents' generation, which is the boomers, it was all about going to school, it's the whole them integrating into white society. And so it was all education. And I think what the crossroads, Generation X, that crossroad, we started finding other ways to have the same success financially other than going to school. So you could work at your utility company and get plenty of overtime, make six figures if you want, make upwards of 80,000, right? Or you could do cutting hair, hairstyling, so many different, avenues. We started apparels and things like that. So I think our generation started you don't really have to go to college movement. And I think the younger generations now are all about that, doing what makes them feel happy and doing them. However, I would just impart on them, just got to have a plan.
Yes.
You just got to have a plan. You just got to have a plan, and you got to have some stick-to-itiveness to the plan. And just know that what one of my favorite rappers, Fabulous, said in one song, he said, my plan B is to make my plan A work.
Okay.
This is where your mindset got to be. Like, you have to know what you're trying to do, make a plan, and just know that tough times going to come. It's never a smooth road. Just because we're smiling, right, and we never had a bad day, doesn't mean it wasn't tough.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had some tough days. We smiled through it, but you're going to have some challenges. But just don't give up when you get that first sucker punch. You got to take that punch and figure, readjust.
Keep it moving. You got to pivot.
Well, in early African American history, right after slavery, of course, they had to create education, but they had to teach teachers first.
Yes.
That's the first thing they had to do. Right. So what's happened was, of course, education was important because we weren't afforded any kind of education when it comes to reading, writing, any of that. And then now that people became educated, now it's like, okay, what do we now? We need tradesmen. So people like yourself, Craig, Micah, I really like listening to y'all, especially because y'all were doing it before it was hot. Right. Right now it's hot. Right. So like y'all were the first series. We had to teach the teachers. The teachers had to learn first. So y'all was doing it before TikTok, before Instagram. Yes. And now the education time comes. Now people get to enjoy all this education that y'all have learned through the trials and tribulations of your career and spread it willingly now, which is a beautiful thing. And I love to sit here and listen to people, just a conversation of you two, because, back then, especially in the early 90s, when you say you became a barber, I'm sure there was a lot of pushback for that. Like you said, there was pushback. But now when people say I'm gonna be a barber, it's like, oh, I can show you these videos of barbers doing great things.
Right.
I mean, for me, it was just loving something. Right. Having a love for something that I could just go home and say that I had a great day today. It wasn't, I didn't go into the industry wanting to make $1 million. I was just like loving something, having my canvas in front of me, and every 30 minutes it just lays, and I'm building relationships along the way, meeting some great friends, meeting some great people. Yes. And then eventually through the relationships, the money started to come.
Yes.
But loving what I did first. I loved what I loved. I remember the first day I opened my shop, I loved what I did. Yes. And I know Jordan is the youngest one in the set. When you hear us talk, Jordan, what goes to your mind? What do you think about?
All y'all's experiences. Because I mean, I've only been cutting hair for 2 years, but I've experienced a lot. But I feel like I'm still missing out on a lot of things. But that's what I'm saying. Y'all been cutting for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I
But
mean, there's
but
still
don't look at it as
lacking
missing out. It's just you can't shortcut a year cutting.
Yeah.
You can't shortcut 2 years cutting.
Right.
You can't shortcut 5 years. You
Right.
can't shortcut 8.
Right.
You can't shortcut 10. You can't shortcut 15 or even 20. All those experiences that's going to build up to make you say, like, man, this is a journey. I heard this guy say yesterday, right? He's a pediatric nurse in New York. He said, you have to practice for 10 years to be a pediatric nurse.
Mm-hmm.
10 years. But here are some people now who come out of some trades or even college and want to be the best they want to be in 3 months and get frustrated. And then the insecurity comes out and blame someone in the classroom, blame the teacher, and say, I'm not learning.
Right.
I didn't grasp it. It takes time to build.
Right.
And I think barbering's going to be better off because right now we're having a wave. We're having a we needed this wave of barbers to come in because there's been a severe lack of them. People have been overworked. But thankfully, the barber industry itself is almost like a sift. You know how they would look for gold? They pick the gold up and they out the river and they'd shake it and find gold. So what's happening is, we got a lot of people coming and some people are intimidated by that. But that barber industry is going to sift them people out because it's not easy. This is not something that you can just do. It takes work. And the people that want to come in and just see the Instagram, I'll make my own schedule, I'll make money, I get prestige. Those people are going to get sifted out.
Right.
And it's just going to be the real ones left.
And see, and this is where education takes place. Oh, I got so much on what y'all just said. So,
that's what you're here for.
All these barbers jumping in, right? And so we're talking about education. And so one of the things I love about my clientele is I'm only where I'm at because people have pushed me to this point. They've seen something in me and be like, hey man, try this out. Yo, you might want to think about doing this. You might want to get your own business. Think about it like this. Look into this format, right? So I'm a product of my clients as well, and I'm a part of them as well, right? And so with these barbers are just jumping in, oh, I'm charging 60, I'm charging 100. I'm like, okay, when this economy slows down, when this economy slows down, because it's all cyclical, when it slows down, all those guys that's charging all that will be looking for regular jobs. So that ship that you saying, that shipping that gold out, see this gold over here?
Iconic.
We still going to be here.
We got gold on the shirt.
We know the cycles, right? And so we just waiting on it. So all those that want to run fast, you can run fast. But when them hard times hit, you stumble, you fall, you don't get up. The ones that know that run that race, that tortoise is running that race, slow and steady, we're going to survive them because we see it coming. We see it coming. We make our adjustments early. So when the tough times come, we just rolling through it. But all those that spent all that pandemic money, spent thousands and thousands and thousands during the pandemic and then saved no money. Yeah. Then let's see by the end of 2023, 24, where you at.
Right. It's important because I was just getting to ask that question. What are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned? But it kind of, what we just talked about is some of the lessons that we are learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to pace yourself.
You got to pace yourself. You have to pace yourself. Because if you don't, if you get to where you want so fast, then you're like, what's next?
Right.
And what was next, you didn't see because you ran so fast to get to that one point. So now you get there and you're like, I don't know what to do. And now you done did so much stuff that the money you're making doesn't even really equate to the responsibility you might have. You jumped in fast, you got your car, you got your apartment, then bought all this stuff, and you got all these commitments to money. Then when the economy slow down, you ain't making the same money no more. So, those are those lessons, and you don't listen to, and if you don't listen to the older people tell you, they're not really trying to hate. They're just trying to give you some game that you really can't see. And I think as we gotten older, because I'm 50 now, if someone tell me some stuff, I'm listening. It's not always true. It can be constructive criticism, and just know that not everybody has a Barack Obama way of saying things to you. Some people don't know how not to say things to you aggressively or say things to you by being nice. They just gonna say it. But don't take it as like, man, he really hating on me. No, he might just not know how to tell you nicely that there's a brick, that light at the end of the tunnel is a train.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't the light you think it is. It's a train.
Yep. That's big. How have you grown and changed since you began your career?
Oh man, first of all, growing up, working in a barber shop since I was 16 years old, you grow up as a man.
Mhm.
I grew in a barber shop. I was around men. I was raised by men. I worked around men, and the brotherhood is a great thing, man. And even I worked in some shops that had unisex, that we had ladies working with us. But being in an all male environment, man, and growing with men, you learn, to me, number one, I learned how to be straightforward in all my life. I really try not to, you learn how to be,
Direct.
you learn how to be direct. You learn how to have your word is your bond. You learn your boundaries when you who you talking to. Because you got different people that come in, people different from people walks of life. You just can't always pop off on some
Nah,
people the way you want to, right?
Yeah.
for sure.
And so you just learn a lot of lessons of being a man working around other men, and then you get around some other stuff that you hear that takes place in other people's workplaces when they work with women. A lot of cattiness going on. Got caught up banging a co-worker. You work in an all-male environment. We just do what we do, and after work we do what we do. But you don't get caught up with the girl here and trying to talk to her. But that's such and such girl. Man, it's too much.
It almost, you kind of equate it almost like working on the pH scale from acidic to alkaline and
Yes,
everything in between.
everything in between. Yes,
Yeah. So that's, I mean, and that's important because one of the key things I learned in the barbershop is you have to have the tough conversation.
definitely.
And sometimes being around men, you need that. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
you can't run from it because that barber's gonna be right there with you.
Yep.
So hey man, can you stop just borrowing my tools all the time? Because when you use my tools, you saving yours. You know what I mean? So
Oh
there's
my God.
you
Oh
got
my God. That's that part there. Stop using my stuff, bro.
yeah, you know what I'm
You
saying?
broke my flip.
Yeah, you got that's the tough conversation. And sometimes it might take a barber a long time to really equate himself or orate himself towards another barber. But
Yes.
if you don't, you're gonna lose. So you learn how to have those tough conversations. That's
Yes.
important. You point that out. You learn all
Your
sides of the
boundaries.
spectrum, from acidic to alkaline to the middle to
Right.
neutral. You know what I mean?
You,
And
you,
you
you
like,
know, you know it's bad when you coming to work and you're looking for something. You're like, I'm gonna go right over to Steve's station. I know he got my stuff. You know what? You know who got it.
yeah, he borrowed every time. He never had blades for his straight
Right.
razor.
You know what I'm saying? I know who got it.
Yeah,
And we like, yo, when you buy yourself a box, buy me a box.
yeah.
You know?
That's crazy, right? But that's a fun part of the lessons that we learn,
It is.
because a lot of barbers sometimes are raised by single parents. So
Yes.
sometimes you are raised in the shop by another barber who's older than you
Yes.
and give you game.
Yes. The man lessons. You need the man lessons.
Yeah,
You
that's
need those man
important.
lessons.
That's big. That's big.
So the education, you say you started education in 08. Now, in my mind, what I've experienced in education has been conferences or hair shows. What was the education circuit like back in 08? What was that like?
So let me say this. So I started education in '99 in the barbershop, just teaching guys in the shop like I did, apprentice wise.
Uh-huh.
I was going to hair shows in like the early '90s, which I was like,
Ooh.
I was doing some platform work, but I was like, this ain't really for us. This is just all cosmetologists. So I stopped going to the trade shows. And then in 2007, my friend Nori West, who runs Major League Barbers, came to me and was like, yo, man, we worked together too. He taught me a lot of stuff. But he came to me and was like, yo, man, you got to come out to the hair shows. I'm like, hair shows ain't for us. He like, they changing. They're opening it up for barbers. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, come to New York. So I went to New York. And I was like, wow, it's popping. The trade show's popping. And New York is New York. And I went to one of the classes. So I'm sitting in the class and I'm watching my partner, who my partner is right now, Craig, in the class.
Craig is dope. I'm gonna get him on the podcast too.
Yeah,
So
Craig is my guy. Oh,
yeah,
y'all will love Craig.
yeah, Craig is cool. I
Yeah.
like bumping heads. I like
Yes,
just knocking knuckles with Craig. That's
Yes,
my
sir.
guy.
Yes, sir. He's got that personality.
Yes.
And watching him teach and watching him at the booth, so I leaned into my man Nora. I said, damn, so you're just teaching everybody everything that we do in Philly on a regular basis with the hair, with the dye. I like, yeah, that's it. You teach fading, how to put the dye in. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll come out and do this with y'all. What's it in for?
Dope.
There was no check involved. But
Yeah.
I could come out and I knew at worst I could learn some game.
And that's
Yes.
important. Talk about the not getting the check. And that's
No.
one thing that Craig talks about a lot. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that's helped me in my career and that barbers don't understand nowadays.
Right.
It's like there's been a lot of investments, I know, on your part,
Yes.
Craig's part, my part, like just as podcasts in general, we don't get any monetary,
Right.
money from this, but we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
And that gets you so much farther in life
Absolutely.
than just doing something for a check. So if you
Right.
talk about that.
Yeah, what happens is people will come and say, like, people come to me like, yo, man, I love to join your education routine. How much it pay? I don't really pay anything. I mean, it does pay us something now that we built that.
Yeah.
But you just don't come in getting a check. And I think people look at us like they will look at Andes and look at Walls. Like we're independent people. So we have to build up what we are doing.
Yes.
So when I came out with my boys, I realized like, okay, they don't have money to pay me to fly, pay me to stay places and things of that nature, or pay me a stipend every day. But what am I going to the show for? 1, to do education. 2, to learn some more education. And 3, business opportunities.
To build.
So my pay is what I'm gaining from the show. But I watch so many people. The majority of people always, man, they didn't give me no money. Man, they didn't pay me for this. Man, I worked for them for years. But you didn't build no relationships because once Craig and I decided to do our kind of barber and step away from Major League Barber, because they were focusing more on just doing barber battles, and we wanted to do more education. When we decided to split off, Craig had a card from a lady that was in the class in Las Vegas that I remember. He gave me the card. I called her. She's an agent. Then we got put on. But those are the opportunities that you have to seek out while you're out there and say, you know what? I mean, this, I may not need you right now, but in the future, I might need this. And those are the things that move you forward. But if you're always looking at what someone don't give you, you can never see the opportunities that lay right in front of you. You can have great opportunities in front of you, but you won't see it because you're so focused on what you didn't get.
Right.
Yeah.
What can you do for me right now?
What can you do for me right now? And someone can give you a couple of dollars and pacify you. There's plenty of educators
and not even call you back again
that are being pacified by making $300 for the day, but they're working from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Yeah. They're telling
Traveling.
you when to come, when to go. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, they don't pay you before you get to the show. They give you money on the back end. Right. So me as an independent educator, I work maybe 4 hours a day. Maybe, we doing our classes for an hour and a half, maybe a hands-on class for 3, and I'm done. I remember working for Major League Barber. We were working from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Help setting up the tables and talking to people. And if I'm not behind a booth, then I'm up in the class teaching. It was an all-day thing.
It was a grind.
So now, and that was
the relationship with that built to get to that point.
Yes. Yeah. But that's the work you got to put in for free to get the back end of having our own company, doing our own education. That's it.
Yeah, that's major. That's big right there.
You got to have a bigger vision for yourself.
You got to. You just can't see the here and now because most people want the low-hanging fruit.
Right.
Most people want the fruit that's right in front of them, not realizing the fruit with the most antioxidant and the fruit with the sweetest fruit is on the top because they get the most sun.
Absolutely.
And that's where even the fruits in the top of the mountains, that's where they get but nobody wants to hike up the mountain to get the nutrition. Yeah. Everybody just wanted on the bottom.
And I imagine these things as like an antenna, like the Barber College Success or like you going to do education, that's your antenna, right? You might not get a signal in, but you can put a signal out. You can reach out, and you can reach people, and that's really what it's about. It's about getting your antenna out there and building your brand. And people in this world, not just barbers included, but people expect somebody to walk up with them and hand them a winning lottery ticket.
They do.
If you don't. I learned early on, you got to go get your ticket. I'm gonna make my ticket.
You got to make your ticket. Yes.
Yeah. Jordan, you over there quiet. I know you over there soaking in. You came in late.
He think about a ticket he almost got.
You almost getting to work.
I'm listening to the game that y'all speaking, man. Y'all speaking a lot of things I actually been wanting to hear recently. So just been taking it all in.
Everybody loves Jordan. Every time I hear people talk about the podcast, I man, I love Jordan. Jordan,
because he's sitting in the back.
He's just humble.
Yeah. I'm just here for the free game.
That's good. Investing. It's good that you are open to listening to it because you're going to take that, and when a situation comes up, you're going to be like, you know what? Oh, I know how to move this way. I know how to move that way. Mm-hmm. If you sitting there like most people sit there, be on their phone or be distracted, they're not listening. Then when these situations come up, they don't know how to react. Then you'll come back like, yo, man, what should I have done? Like, yo, we told you what you should have done. You should have been
sure. What is your advice for people getting into this industry now, like students or people going into an apprenticeship?
I tell them It's a 3 to 5 year window. It's a 3 to 5 year window. If you don't have patience for 3 to 5 years to get educated, to get your skills up, and to build your clientele, don't get in it. 3 to 5 years. And my son is 29. He's been cutting hair. Started out cutting my hair. I show him little stuff since he was 11 years old.
Wow.
In his years ago, he was like, man, Dad, I'm traveling on the road. And he was, I'm watching. He like, man, I ain't cutting no hair. He on his phone though.
Slow
I'm
in the
not
shop.
cutting much. I think I'm gonna get a regular job. I'm like, just hang in there a little bit more, because he graduated high school, and this is about 2 years after high school. And I'm like, hang in there. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, if you get a job, you're going to start splitting this thing, and then you're not going to be fully in being a barber. You'll start being a part-time barber, and then, you're not going to make it. Eventually you'll just be working a regular job if that's what you want to do. And he's like, I don't know. Then one year I was in LA at a show, and he called me. He was like, it clicked, Dad. He was like, I got it now. He's like,
Yep.
I'm rolling. I'm steady. I'm good now. And it was good to hear because he was on that fence.
Right.
He's going to quit. And I told him, look, it's a 3-year window outside of school. You got to grind, but there's going to be a lot of times you're going to sit there, do nothing. You're watching somebody else cut hair. And that's a tough thing to watch other people make money. You're not. But you got to stay focused and know that you got to keep working your game, work on your skills, work on advertising yourself. And one day it's going to come, but you got to be patient. And life is waiting on you to see if it's going to break you. When life see, we ain't breaking. Okay, go ahead, give it to him. Yeah. Here's your ticket. You know what I mean? But you don't get the ticket before you got to go through the pain of sitting and building. Some people are great at being barbers early or artists early, right? Like you have girls who are great in high school doing hair, so they can hit the ground running. You know what I mean? But not everybody has the skills early to just amass a great clientele before they actually, go through school, get all the requisite skills. Some people are just naturally gifted that way,
And that's it. And like you said, some people are naturally gifted.
Naturally
Students
gifted.
need to hear that because a lot of students go to school and they compare themselves.
Yeah, no,
off the rip.
Yeah,
and you compare yourself to someone who's naturally gifted or whose father was a barber who's been showing them the ropes a long time. That doesn't mean you're not going to get it.
It does, right.
And you go there and you have a terrible experience in school. You make other people experience terrible because you're crippling yourself thinking that I am not going to get this. I can't be good. And I'm like, yo, take your time, relax. It's a process. You're 2 weeks in school. You're a month in school. You're 3 months in school.
You need repetition.
You're 6 months in school. You need repetition. In school, it's good that it's not so busy at times because it slows down for you.
Right.
Take your time and work on that haircut.
Right. Because the beginning of, we're going to take you back to the beginning as you asked. The beginning is you're like, I like cutting hair. I got the clippers. I'm learning how to do this. I kind of got that together. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Next is this. But when you get good and you had a repetition, I already know when you sit down, I look at your hair texture. What do you want? I already know how to attack this. Okay, I'm gonna do it with this clipper, that. I'm not guessing. When you first start cutting hair, you're guessing your way through the cut. Once you've done it enough time, you automatically go and knowing. Psh, boom, 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 boom.
You got a blueprint.
Yeah, you got a blueprint. But like you said, 2 months in, people want to they want to have enough repetition where they can just jump in. You can't. You don't know. There's so many different hair textures and head shapes and people dealing with different issues in the hair. You really have to be in this for at least 3 to 5 years before you can really have enough repetition where you can just rock out on anything, And then most people can only cut on their ethnicity's hair. A lot of people can't cross cut.
You have to learn texture.
Got to learn texture.
You have to learn density. You have to learn porosity. All those things are important for you to learn for you to get to the next level.
Yes.
Because a lot of people just thinking and they just focus on the YouTube. I like YouTube, but I don't like it.
Yes.
I like it, but I don't like it because it kind of cripples again. People are thinking that that's all there is.
Right.
You have to just give a boss fade. And all you being is just a cut at the time.
Right. Right.
And there's something that you said too that resonates with me because I remember the moment when I was like, it was like a moment of enlightenment where it was like, I think I got this now.
Right.
It's like, and I think every barber has that moment eventually where it starts making sense.
It does.
Like you just wake up one day and you go to work and it's like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think every barber has to reach that point. And some people don't make it to that point. They give up before they get there. A lot of people don't.
A lot of
But
people.
I specifically remember when it was like around this time, like March or April or something. And I was in the shop and it was just like, yeah, like this is it. I remember, like, I mean, seriously, like that's how I felt. I was like, I got anything that walks in here today, I got it. You know, like,
and you just feel it, right? It's that shift, you feel it, and a lot of it is my skills is on point, but my people skills is on point too. Because now people come to you like if everybody's equal in skills, people want to go to the person that resonates with them the most.
By far,
you know what I'm saying? It ain't your swag. It's like me. I care about people. So if you tell me something about your son, next time you come in, it's just automatically how your son doing. Is he good? Did he recover? Like it's a people thing. So when it all come together, you really see you just feel it like, man, I got it. And then when people come in, got you, boom, you cutting them, you talking to them, it's all good. You can't cut in silence. No. Then you don't make a connection with the person. That means that person can go to Craig, Wanza, Joe, Harry, you know what I'm saying? So like you got to personalize yourself. And when it all come together, you feel it, your confidence goes out the roof, right? And then you good. You don't feel insecure like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Do I need to look at another job in the future? Like if I'm good right here and I'm confident right now, it can only get better.
Yep. Shout out to FeedSpot for ranking as the top 25 podcasts in the world, top 25 podcasts in the country. Hey, man, where are we at again? We're in the U.S.,
UK, Canada,
nice,
Australia, Iceland,
Ireland. I also looked up the other day. I looked at FeedSpot and I looked up Barber Podcast. We're number 2.
Oh, that's big.
Oh,
we are number 2.
Madagascar.
We in Madagascar. So I looked it up and I looked at the podcast the other day just to see where we're at on FeedSpot. So in Barber Podcasts, according to their rankings, we're the second barber podcast on their rankings.
Oh, that's big. That's big. That's big. Yeah, let's get it.
It's because of people like you coming on, taking your time out, coming on the show. We really appreciate you having us.
Absolutely.
Well, the key is to enhance the industry. I got one for you, and then I'm gonna jump into something else.
Okay.
What is the most surprising thing that you have experienced?
Oh, the most surprising thing I've experienced in the industry. Well, just cutting hair in the industry, the most surprising thing. If I'm surprised about anything, it's it probably would be people's behavior. Just learning how to deal with them personalities is different because when you first start cutting hair, you just focus on cutting hair. You don't think about people. And then you got some real nutty people. I worked with some real nutty people. I cut a few nutty people, and it's how you deal with people when they're off, because the pandemic has really exacerbated a lot of people's extreme personality traits. Right. So people are now no longer keeping the crazy in a little bit. They're coming in with it, off the rip. So I think what surprised me the most is just how people are and how you have to try to keep that level. You have to keep that level personality to deal with people that's on that roller coaster. They're like this, but you got to always be here in the middle. You can never go up and down with them because that's a volatile situation. So if you're in management, you absolutely have to have this kind of personality. You're going to have to eat some stuff up. You're going to have to give some stuff out, but you got to know when to and when not to, So to me, I would say people personalities. And for sure, since the pandemic, it's been crazy.
Right. It's off the rockers.
It's off the rockers.
Do you listen to Earn Your Leisure?
Who?
Earn Your Leisure.
Nah, not really.
Oh, check them out. So I saw something on Earn Your Leisure yesterday. Shout out to those brothers up in New York. 5 jobs that artificial intelligence will soon replace. 5 jobs. And I want your feedback on this. The 5 jobs that artificial intelligence will soon replace: customer service representatives, computer coders, taxi and truck drivers, medical assistants, and cashier.
Yeah.
The 5 jobs that artificial intelligence will not replace: athletes, barbers, chefs, public speaker, and religious ministers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that
So
wholeheartedly.
we safe. So we safe. You know
So
what
we
I
say,
mean?
We safe, bro. We in the
they
safe.
can't take us nowhere, bro. We here to stay.
We the
This
safe
job been here
space.
at the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that you mentioned on the list that are safe have to deal with human interaction.
Yes.
So like you don't need a cashier to purchase anything.
No.
Like my mother said to me one day, so like all gas stations used to have an attendant that pumped the gas for you, but they came out with the machines to the point where you can pay for your gas inside, pump it yourself. So it eliminated jobs. And my mom always makes it a point when she goes to the supermarket to go to a cashier. She's like, because that's someone's job. I'll go
Right.
to the speed checkout. She'd be like, nah.
Me too. I'm out.
Yeah. Right. But my mom was like, nah, I'm gonna go to a cashier because that's keeping someone's job. And I was
The
like,
speed checkup makes me uncomfortable too. They always watch me like I'm stealing.
yeah.
Like if y'all don't think I'm stealing, why y'all put this here? I'm just trying to get my groceries and get
That's
out.
crazy, ain't it?
Yeah.
And I was watching a brother today talk about how Amazon has a technology where you can go into some stores and just pick stuff up and walk out, and it'll automatically charge you. You don't have to worry about nothing.
A lot of airports
That's
have
crazy.
that. A lot of airports have. They
A
have
lot of
like
airports have
sensors
that.
all over. So once you do, you just tap your credit card
Yeah,
in the front, and you go through the store, pick it up, and once you come back out, it just
That's fire.
yeah.
That's dope.
yeah.
But think about this though. The
Put stuff in
artificial
Jordan's
intelligence,
pockets.
what we were in New York for,
Yes.
with
With the hair.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
Candace.
saying.
With
So
Candace.
that's big.
That's
That
huge.
is. You want to
Well-
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so she has a technology that you could take a strand of hair, you send it in, and it'll tell you exactly the density,
Extra.
the pressure, everything, and it'll tell you what's lacking and what products to use on it. What products is best for that hair texture. It's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a Zoom call with her last week,
Okay.
and she's linked up with one other school, so I'll probably be the second school that she'll be linking up with, and I think that's going to change the game because they also have an app
Right.
where the students will be able to use the app and do all that testing.
That's
Right.
dope.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
No, that's really
I
a game
love it.
changer for real.
It is.
Right.
So I mean, that right there was surprising to me because I'm thinking like, man, artificial intelligence in our industry, because most people don't think about the STEM, the science,
Right.
the technology,
Right.
the engineering,
Right.
and the mathematics it take in cutting hair.
Right. And so with that technology, Maya Ivana,
Yes.
with that technology, imagine. So like there was at one point something came out called African what's it called? African something. It's a product line that came out. African something.
Mhm.
And it had the whole African dashiki stuff on the front. Y'all seen this stuff it's probably still out.
Mhm.
Africa something. Can't remember the full name. At any rate, that stuff was making people bald. So
Oh, wow.
a client of mine lost all his hair using it.
Mm.
And then when he researched, he's like, this ain't even made by black people, it's made by white people. He was pissed. You know what I mean? So imagine how like barbers may be like, that's for cosmetologists. No, what if you use that technology on your clients and you forgot a product that's gonna help their hair stay healthier longer. So
And then sell it to them.
Yeah.
sell it to them. And now you can prolong balding, prolong alopecia, disorders of the scalp, when we talk
Yes.
about dandruff and things of that nature. So there's
That's
a
the
lot
importance
that
of
it can
that.
be done for barbers. And I'm glad that she leaned into us. And
Right.
I missed that call last week, but I'm glad she leaned into us because now we can bring that to the barber game and
Oh,
let them know
game
how that
changer.
works. Yeah, how to
Game.
benefit us instead of us looking at it like, that's for girls. Like, no.
That's for
No, it works
everybody.
for
It's
us
gonna make
too.
your life easier.
So I don't know how many times
Yes.
I've got people coming in the shop and they like, man, you know anything that can help me with, help my hair grow or
Yes.
like
Yeah.
make my hair not dry. And I'll try to recommend them some stuff, but that's only from personal use. Like I don't really know,
This
like
is
really
a
know,
game
like actually.
changer. I can't
Yeah.
wait to team
So
up with this lady.
imagine cutting his hair, taking the little snippets, sending that to the lab. Lab sends you back the results on a computer or through the app. These are the
Yes.
product. This is what the hair is lacking. This is what you use to get it back to health, and this is what you continue to use to make sure it's healthy.